I'm in the finished part of the home, right above the rec room that's in the basement where I'm going to be installing some recessed lighting. I'm going to be following the same grid pattern as we've got here, 3 rows of 3. I'm going to take you downstairs and show you the rough-in procedures for this, and if you want to go with some recessed lighting, then you'll know how. Okay, so now we're down in the basement where I was just discussing the recessed lighting. This is the style of recessed lighting that I'm using. It's more of a after fit, so we are in fact going to drywall the whole ceiling and then drill our holes to fit these up into the ceiling space, hook the wires up to it and attach the trim, and that will be our finished light. In this area I've got loops of wires that are hanging from the ceiling in the approximate locations. So there's 9, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 3 are hooked up to temporary lights that I will use during the mudding and taping process and to finish the construction project. And here are the other 3. These wires are coming out of the switch that is over here. So with the recessed lighting that we're putting into the rec room area, I'm going to install it on a 3-way switch so that it can be activated from this location or at the back door location. To start this rough-in for the recessed lighting, I need to bring power feed from the electrical panel to this switch. I run a 3-wire from this switch to the other switch, and from the other switch I run a 2-wire to the 9 pot lights, and that will connect a 3-way circuit for the recessed lighting. Okay, so I'm at the back location where the 3-way switch is going to be installed. You can see this red wire here is the extra 3-wire that was ran from switch to switch, and the black and white wire up to the first pot light in our series. Okay, so now that my ceiling is taped, ready to be sanded, I've got one last thing I want to do before I sand, and that's drill out the holes and pull the wires down for the pot lights, just so that I know that I've got them all located and I'm not going to have to do any mudding and taping touch-ups, etc. So this is the time. How I'm going to proceed with doing that is measure all the way around the 4 perimeter walls on the grid pattern that I originally roughed those wires in up there. I'm going to apply some thumbtacks near those lines and use some fishing line to connect all the indicator points to create a 12 line grid, which will give me my 9 pot light locations. It would be a lot easier just to chalk some lines up on the ceiling to find the indicator points where I'm going to drill the holes, but chalk lines will always be showing through the paint or texture or whatever you're doing on your ceiling after. So you've got to use a dry line and then use a pencil to mark the X location and then drill out your holes. Okay, so now that I've got my 12 locations located on the 4 walls, I'm going to use a thumbtack, push it into the ceiling at those locations, and then connect all the tacks together with some fishing line, which will give me my grid pattern. so now that I've got the string line attached to the 12 tacks, you can see that where they're intercrossing each other is the pot light location. So this tack, these 3 tacks are exactly parallel with those 3 tacks, and these 3 are parallel with those 3. So connecting them all up, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and finally 9. So now I'm going to use my pencil at this indicating point just to mark it so I can take my tacks down and I know where to drill my holes. Okay, so now that you've got your 9 indicator points marked out for where the pot light wire should be, it's time to grab your cordless drill with your appropriate size hole saw that matches with your pot lights. Drill into each of these locations and pull the wires down. So this is the hole saw that is suited for the pot lights that I've chosen for down here. It's a 3.5 inch hole saw. If I was to just start drilling right away, I might not hit the indicator point perfectly. So I've just got a regular nail and I'm gonna make a little center hole so that this bit has a good hole, good starting point to follow down. There we go. There's my wire for my pot lights. Okay, so that's our 9 pot light locations in the rec room. You can see that I did refine the wires up in the ceiling space. I'll tuck these away just so that I can finish sanding the ceiling. Once the ceiling's primed, I'll go through and hook up all these lights. Okay, so now that I've got my holes cut for my pot lights and I've got my wires pulled down, stripped, and got about 1 inch of the jacket removed, I'm going to go through and install one of these pot lights now. So here is the pot light, or recessed light. It's got a finished trim on it, so I'm going to remove that. This is where your light would plug into once you've got it installed. These clips that are inside here are what helps it hold into the drywall when you put it up there. So you get your wires in through the back and then you stuff it up. And then once it's in perfectly, you push those clips down and it'll hold the light in position. So now you can, on this light, you got access panel either on left side or the other side, the right side. I'm just gonna use this side. Pull out your wires. It's got a ground wire and my hot and neutral line. So I'm just gonna match up my white to my white and my black to my black. Twist on the morettes and then close the cover back off. So with this light, to get the actual Lumex wire into the box, I've got 2 covers back here to break one of them out to use. So I'm gonna use the bottom one. So you just bend it down, back and forth a bit. Till it's removed. Then I got a connector. So you wouldn't wanna ever leave a bare Lumex wire just through a hole like that. Eventually the copper and the metal will corrode against each other and it'll start shorting out. So you've got to put a connector on in this hole to run the Lumex wire through here and clamp down on it. Again, just like a receptacle box where I was leaving that 1/4 inch of jacket through, we'll do a similar situation with this. So to get these in, you just compress them a little bit and they've got a little groove here that they'll lock into once they get in. Okay, so you can see I've got my connector in there. I'm loosening it off because I'm going to stuff 2 wires in there, which are right here. So like at the start when I was stripping these wires, I had mentioned to you that keeping them even is a nice, helpful way to go about it. So I could try to stuff these 2 through the hole like this, but I also like to just give it a wrap of tape first to hold the wires together in their position before I stuff them in. So got my electrical tape right here. Line up these 2 wires perfectly. Just a couple wraps to hold it. Okay, now I'm ready to bring up my fixture. Now when you're pulling stuff through, you just want to be gentle that you don't nick your wires on the sides of the steel or anything like that. A little too tight. So I just got to loosen it off a bit more so I can fit the 2 wires through. Okay, there we go. So you see in the box there that my jacket is now sticking through. That's what you want to see, just to know your wire's not going to get any damage and that it is in there far enough. So now I'm just tightening that screw which pushes the clamp tightly onto the 2 wires, and they should be stuck in that position. All right, so you can see here I can pull my wires to where I need them to work, and the pot light or the recessed light can hang from the wires nice and secure so that you can work on the rest of hooking it up. So whenever I'm twisting wires, again, I'm always going in that clockwise motion because that's how the moret is designed to go on. You're always twisting wires in a clockwise motion so that when you put your morets on, they're also going in the same motion. So I usually just start by twisting my 2 Lumex ground wires together, and then I'll wrap this one nice around it. So you can see that that's not really ever going to come apart. Then I'll take a moret. This moret itself is sized for 2 to 3 wires. So you can see that I'm perfect with this situation. Stuff your moret on, put ample pressure downward, and begin to twist it until you can see it climbing down the wire. Now, you definitely got to keep good pressure on it as you're turning it. Now that's max turning, like I wouldn't want to strip it or anything, but you can always test it after by pulling at it to see if it's held down. Now, an extra step that I like to do, it's maybe a little over excessive on the ground wire, but just to make sure that these hold when I go stuffing them back into the box, I just throw a little bit of tape. Oh geez. Throw a little bit of tape on there, and then I know that when I'm stuffing them in the box that it's going to stay where it needs to. All right. So I'll just begin with my neutral. Trim those a little shorter. Okay, you can see I've got all 3 wires nice and twisted together. Got another moret.
Just hold on one sec. Let me just try to get a better shot of this here. Okay, you can go ahead and moret it.
Okay, so I got my moret. Lots of pressure downward. Clockwise motion. Can feel it climbing down that wire. All right, nice and tight, give it a little test. Okay, nice and secure. Moving on to the black wires. Got those twisted nice. Give it a pull. Okay, so all my 3 wires are all twisted together and moretted off. Now I've got to manipulate these wires to get them tight in the box so I can put the cover back on. This is where taping them really helps, because then you know your moret is stayed in position. And there you have it. And here's my final cover again. In the slot, click down. So this is finished wired up, ready to go. So now I'm going to push it up into the hole, make sure the wires are feeding down through the floor joist, and then pop these things into position. When I stuff the recessed light up into the hole, the way that it holds firmly in the drywall and why it was so precise to make these holes the exact size is that inside, once I've got it up, I've got these 2 tabs on the inside. When I get it up in the hole, I push these tabs down and it brings this tab all the way over and presses against the top of, or the other side of the drywall, keeping the pot light or recessed light in position. So start with those in the down position. Bring your light, or grab your wires, see which way they're gonna go. I can feed mine back down that way. When you're putting these up, make sure you're getting no resistance with tucking your wires up there. If you're getting resistance, try another route with your wire. It's just better to do that rather than have something come loose or be tugging on the electrical wire. So mine went up nice and smooth. Just gonna pop it the rest of the way. So you can see there that I'm in, perfect. So now all that's left to do is to push these tabs, and this last push with your finger as hard as you can locks it in tight. All right, so both of those are locked down, and that's installation of recessed lighting.